Oh, sit down. All right, let's have a big chat about this. Yes. What do you want? There we go. All right. Sit down, get comfy, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's time we deal with the big mess that it is. Vanguard as it is. Because many people okay, this one has mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. The reality is it sucks. It's well, not sucks. It's mediocre. Let's put it that way. It's mediocre. The MP is mediocre from everything that I have seen so far from many COD streamers, and I don't know. I don't know where. Okay, let's start with the obvious. They pushed this new Call of Duty as it has the most maps and it has everything, and it's like, are you sure about that? Like, where's the John Cena face? Like, are you sure about that? Are you sure that it's the most content? It's like, no. The number of maps that we receive in this new Call of Duty, that was standard back in the day. It's just here's the funny thing. This was the last Call of Duty that had the number of maps that Vanguard is promoting. Since then, since Advanced Warfare onwards, we have less and less maps. And that is, you could say it's Activision's fault, but it's more so the developers are not sticking up with their guns. Ghost was the last Call of Duty that we have a decent number of maps at launch. Also, it had the most guns at launch. Well, not the most guns. That one goes actually to Modern Warfare 3 in a sense of way. But it was more so because Black Ops 2 started with the only DLC weapon that it had, the Peacekeeper. And on Ghost, it had the Mavericks and it had the Ripper. And that's it. Those are the only two guns. Well, actually, three in the sense of way that the Maverick could be an AR or a sniper rifle. But at that time, there was no gunsmith. So, but still, it's no sense that they're trying to push it. This it's the with the most maps. Okay, but that was standard back in the day. It's just you're trying to make it standard again and trying to make it surprising that Sledgehammers did this and they are deserving of your COD time. Like no, that's just standard. There's no surprise there. I'm not surprised in there. What I am disappointed is that Cold War and Modern Warfare launched with more game modes than what Vanguard has. And the only thing that I can kind of get kudos to Vanguard is, the tactical and blitz thing. Oh, you want clusterfuck matches? Go to blitz mode, but that would be more so like crazy mode instead of blitz. Tactical, okay, kind of Modern Warfare ish, but it's not quite. But the reason that I kind of getting them kudos because of it is it's bug, it's broken. Nobody can actually enjoy it because you join a match of blitz, and then even though you just put it that you want blitz, it sends you to tactical matches. So what was the point on actually having the selecting thing if at the end of the day it's going to be bug and it's not going to count? I mean, shouldn't this issue been resolved? It's like, no, And that's sad. That's sad. Like having these issues, you know, the number of maps that was standard back in the day. It shouldn't come as, oh, it's the most content on launch. It's like, no, that was standard. Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Ghosts, Advanced Warfare started with a little fewer maps. That's where it started with them. Going a little bit back, less and less maps. They were the ones that actually introduced the loot box system within Call of Duty because of their care package system and randomness. The loot content of rarity. Because Fortnite and other games started with that trend, but it was more so in a sense of way it was cosmetic, but they wanted to introduce it as if it was. So the number of maps is like, no, that's not a good thing. That's just standard. That's neutral. That's not a good thing. It should have been standard always, not just reduce the number of maps that you have in the Call of Duty and then release it a DLC. Hell, Modern Warfare even had it didn't have the number of maps that traditionally were accustomed, but at least it was more maps at launch than other Call of Duties at the time. And even though you can say, oh, well, it released with more maps than Modern Warfare in 2019, it's like, yeah, but we were getting back to that number, to that standard number. So Vanguard didn't do something new, it just returned to standard. So it's not new. That's a neutral point. The only thing that it would be 0.5 good would be the blitz and tactical system, but since it's bug, it's more so a 0.5 than a point in favor. So I understand where they're going with that approach. But when you put in a certain mode on it and then it just messes up. It's like I go into a blitz match or I go into a tactical match. Okay, I end it. And then it's sending me to the other one that I didn't want it, that I didn't select it. And even they're saying that they have bug issues, that they have a 24/7 map and blitz, and then it sends them to another map match, and you're like, then why create the 24/7 lobby if it's going to rotate me to another map that I don't want to? If I recall, in Modern Warfare and Cold War never had this issue at launch that you had the selection. The only thing that there was bug, it was more so that it rotated you to team. If you have selected a team deathmatch or domination, it would rotate you more towards those game modes than the other ones, and you would have to deselect them because you wanted the other one. But it was more so server queues because those matches tend to, go faster in team deathmatch than in domination. Then, search and destroy that takes a little bit more time, or cyber attack that was a kind of search and destroy because they were more tactical. It takes more time because players either camping or either checking an area, So in that way it's understandable, but you still had them in rotation. It's not like, oh, I select team deathmatch only and then it sends me to domination. It never happened in Modern Warfare, and never happened in Cold War. Because my selection was more so kill confirm in hardcore. And in quick matches I just kill confirm. I want to kill confirm, always kill confirm in Modern Warfare at launch. Cold War, the same. And there was the Nuketown. You wanted Nuketown? Always Nuketown. It changes the game mode, but it was Nuketown. I was never transferred to another map. In this one, they have that problem. Okay, um, fix that. I'm just pointing out, like everybody is pointing out the issues for them to fix, and it's kind of a big mess. Another big mess is I understand your operators and everything that they have various backgrounds and they join somehow the Allied forces, but the core issue that everybody pointed out in the beta, my team versus the enemy team, that cannot exist. We understand what you're trying to do, you know, but then what's the point? What's the point of presenting factions in your campaign if you're going to reduce it to my team versus the enemy team? In World War II, there are several factions, and I even pointed that out in yesterday's stream. What's the point of having them if you're not going to introduce them in multiplayer? If you're just going to cut it down to a simple fact of my team versus the enemy team, and if you're not in my team, then if I'm in you, not in your team, then I'm in the enemy team. It's like, okay, that's obvious because I'm in the other faction. You know, the reason that operators in Modern Warfare and in Cold War were, allegiance versus coalition, Warsaw Pact versus NATO forces. Is to distinguish the operators. Which side are they on more likely to be inclined to, regardless if they want the good of the world or the bad of the world. One example, one of my favorite characters in Cold War, even though it was more so in the campaign, it is showcased more so than in the multiplayer, is Portnova. You see her that even though she's a spy, helping the Allied forces, she's in the Warsaw Pact, but she wants the greater good. So even if Perseus approaches her, she's going to decline it because she knows how blurry the lines can be. So even though she's Warsaw Pact, defending the Soviet Union somewhat, but she understands that if the Soviet Union goes the other way, she has a place to go, because she knows how they operate and everything. So and over here, even though you have converted Nazis, non-acceptable members of the army because either they were rejected or they thought it's like, nah, you're not gonna help us on the battlefield. Okay, I understand that, but it's important to have definite lines. Okay, nobody, in the sense of way, what they were trying to do is like nobody wants to be the bad guy. Have you witnessed how gamers are sometimes? Sometimes we just want to be the bad guy because it's cool, because they have cool abilities that the good guys don't have, because in the storyline it goes different and it unlocks certain things, in MMORPGs and everything, even in first-person shooters. Some of the bad guys that first-person shooters titles, even in Call of Duty, have, it's like, oh, as for example, if right now they release a skin of a young Menendez in Black Ops Cold War, you don't think that people are going to flock and try to use Menendez? Hell, they have been using Stitch, Naga, this hacker girl, Wraith, Knight. And even though they're bad guys, they use them. They select them and they use them in Cold War. In Modern Warfare, Nikto, you have Mace. I like Mace. If I'm playing Allegiance, as the quote unquote bad guys, I use Mace. because he's a cool looking dude, even though he has a ghost mask, and it reminds me of one of my favorite Call of Duties. But that's it. It's like players want to be sometimes in that team, because when they're the good guys, they want to use certain weapons. When they're the bad guys, they want to use another type of weapons. To identify their opposites. So that thing of my team versus the enemy team, in order for them to eliminate the line, it's like that doesn't work. This ain't Fortnite. This ain't a game for kids, even though kids play it. This is what's the rating? Let's check the rating of. It says M for mature in Call of Duty Ghosts. I think it has the rating over here in this one hard case. Oh no, it has it here. M for mature. What's M for mature? And it says it over there. 17 plus. So it's like late teens, young adults. They understand the faction side. It's like Nazis versus Americans in some maps, Nazis versus English in other maps, Japanese versus United States in other maps, Japanese versus English, Italians versus English and Americans, Aussies, since you put in Aussies versus Japanese in the South part, or Aussies versus German or Italian Nazis, on Libya. Factions, if you're basing it on a historical theme, you have factions in which to put, because your audience rating is late teens, young adults, and they understand and they have history in their high school. So that thing of blurring the line of my team versus the enemy team, hell, I think even Ahmed has memed it to death, resurrected it, and memed it again to death in Twitter. People on the internet have memed it to death since it came out. Since they announced it, it's going to remain like that. Excuse me, sledgehammers. Think. Going SJW doesn't help anything. Any game that has gone SJW has ended up being the shit meme of the year and onwards. Look at Mass Effect Andromeda. Tried to go SJW and it ended up being a shit pile of crap. So, in order to correct it, in order to not be a meme because of that, I suggest you put in factions. Because my team versus the enemy team doesn't work. Okay? Another thing, changing a little bit about factions, weapons. Everybody's pointing out that weapon camo challenges, well, they're few, but they seem copied and pasted. And some of the attachments that they're putting, either number of attachments or attachments don't exist in certain weapon types. Who was the lazy guy or lazy persons that actually just copied and pasted the challenges to the weapons? Now, I would give you kudos with the knife and launchers, no leveling up to unlock the camos. But the knife camos are bugged. The launcher camos is, one of them is redunculous because it's so weak, the launcher. That is the Panzerfaust. The one that you just rotate and launches an anti-tank projectile. So, and I would question the UAV one with that one, because that Panzerfaust, it's more so short to mid range, and it was created more so like direct combat against Allied tanks by the Nazi Germans. So for them to have a ridiculous range to take down a scout plane that acts like a UAV, no, just no. uh, going on that route that I have complained since they showcased it in the beta. I don't know how many bowls they smoked in order for them to create this attachment variety on World War II weapons. Because not even gun fanatics of World War II guns can modernize them and customize them on the way that Sledgehammers has done it. You know, the STG, I'm using my Nerf rifle for this one. The STG has a spring that goes all the way into the stock, because it's a reciprocating one and it's the first true, you can call it the first true assault rifle, as we historians call it, because it used a rifle cartridge and it was the fully automatic version of it. The BAR is not considered one because it was mostly purposed as a light machine gun that was portable rather than assaulting the enemy in a more modular, well, not modular, more so intermediate short package, kind of like an SMG with a rifle cartridge. So the STG-44 has a spring that goes almost all the way back into stock. From here it goes somewhat to here. The no stock attachment is so unrealistic that the gun wouldn't work at all. It would just fire once and that would be it. The mechanism would just go like that. It is not like the SIG rifles that have a modern setup that it can go fully in stock. So on that regards, it's like no barrel lengths. Many of the World War II rifles couldn't be. You couldn't detach the barrel and put in a new one and different one because the production line. You got to remember these weapons were made more so from a standpoint of World War One weapons. Wooden, steel, and then it is based on. If I change the barrel of an M1 Garand, like today, a modernized M1 Garand, I can. But if I grab a World War II one, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to change the barrel so easily because then I would have to change most of the body that it's wooden on it. I wouldn't be able to extend the clip uh, of the M1 Garand because of its design and it would cripple it. That's why when you see the M14, it's almost like a modernized version of the M1 Garand firing the 308 rather than the 30-06. But it's the same body, but it was more so unreliable still by the needs of the military because of the body of frame. You couldn't attach a scope that simply on it. So the thing that they're showcasing World War II weapons and customizing them as if they were modern weapons for modern warfare. I understand that they want to carry the gunsmith system, but then the level of customization that you're doing to these weapons. I understand it's a video game, but I would have gone the route of World at War. At least at World at War, it was more so believable than anything. I would have stick with the 5 attachment thing, but I would have made it, sights, and in some instances it would be the barrel length because you wouldn't have a muzzle device. Most of the rifles, most of the weapons in World War II, the muzzle device, the thing of flash hiders, compensators, that didn't come after the Vietnam War. So pointless in that regard. It would have been optics, barreling. If you could argue your magazine size of the same caliber, there was no caliber conversions in most of the guns. Um, I don't stocks, no grips, maybe. Yeah, grips in some of the weapons, not on all. Uh, on the barrel, it's more so like change the wood part and put another wooden part that has a grip that you could have done. Um, or put in a bipod. Some of the guns had that, the bipod thing is just more so. Um, Perk would have been fast melee, fully loaded, and heavy melee, you can say. So it would have been one, two, three, four, five, six slots, and that would be it. Five. You didn't need all these 10 attachments and the stupidity that they're showcasing. It's just wrong, because then you gotta remember some things. You gotta remember this point. Most people, what they have in history classes, some of them, that like most of the people just go into history classes just to, get it done, and they learn more history through video games, movies, and series. This new new generations that they're coming. So if you're teaching them that in World War II they had red dots and everything, even though it's a video game, they understand it's a video game. But when they start to ask, man, I want an STG 44 or an M1 Garand this, it's like from the past, you can't, and that's more modern than past. And I touch a little bit on it on yesterday's stream that Japanese never had STG 44s. They never got it because there's so few for the Nazi German army that it didn't reach even the allies, their allies. So there's no such things as attachments. It's just a big disappointment on that front. There has been talks, Drifter even made a video yesterday that I saw, and I was like, that Commander Pro was somewhat back as a bayonet attachment. I mean, I think Sledgehammers has, if they return it, it's going to be a big problem, not only for tactical lobbies but for blitz lobbies. It could be fun for like 5-10 minutes, like everybody had in Modern Warfare 2 with the Marathon Lightweight Commando and the knife. But that's like 5-10 minutes and it gets annoying. It's like, meh, I just did it. It's like, okay, what now? Oh, it's like that. It's like, no. Man, what a big issue they have with multiplayer. Sticking with weapons, ammunition types. It seems that in some weapons there's some unbalance because some of them feel unnecessary or it's just like there and they don't work properly. And it confuses sometimes people. And I understand that point, ammunition types and everything, but having too many on it, it's like, why, if it's going to make a minimal differential? on in damage or in performance of the weapon? And why did you put this caliber? Like, if you're gonna do ammo types, don't change the caliber type and the ammo type in that regard. It's more so make it standard on all weapons. I understand that it's still not uh, it's pre-NATO, and the NATO has, every army has to have specs on the ammo. That's why 223s, 308s have their 55, 62, and 77 with the 556. The 308 has a standard of 140, 168, and 175. And they have their types associated with it, the grains and the ammo type. And there's some ammo types that were restricted post World War II. And I understand it's a mess before that. But if you're going with ammo types, you got to remember not everyone had it. I understand it's one of the features that you want to introduce, but make it bare bones instead of making it complicated. Don't add something that is half of the other one. It's like if I add hollow point, it creates plus 2 damage, but minus 2 penetration. Okay, but then you add jagged hollow point is 1 plus damage, but minus 1 penetration. Is like, okay, that's the intermediate, but it doesn't help me. I should go just hollow point if I want more damage. Why this did exists in the first place? Uh, one of the observations that I made when I was doing the updates on the rewrite, the ammo types, just make it centered on everything. Don't change it. Don't add. Okay, no, don't change it. Don't add complexity on when it shouldn't be complex. That's what I'm getting at. Because not every like, okay, I understand you want to try to mirror the real world, but most in the real world they just resume it to FMJs, hollow points, armor piercings, and incendiaries. If you want to go like, if you want to add one that is a little bit more modern, but back in the day it was not a type, subsonic rounds, because of suppressors. Back in the day there were no suppressors that were effective on guns or attachable to guns, so subsonic, it's out of the question. For a World War II game, it's like, nope, it shouldn't exist. It's only those 4 that I just mentioned, and that's it. And then you have conflicting stats on those 4. You don't add a complexity on it. Like incendiary tracers or jagged hollow point or soft points, or no, just get rid of the complexity, make it simple and understandable. Going with that, operator challenges. I understand what they were trying to do with leveling up. You progress your operator and you get like a gold uniform with them, or special gold-ish uniform with them when you max level them. I would have preferred if they stick with challenges instead of leveling up, because right now there's confusion on emblems and calling cards that you unlock with certain operators. It's like, how did I get it? Just leveling up? It doesn't say. Operator challenges within the operators, it says more so of who the operator is and his style of, not only of play, but of his way to fight, than just leveling up. And that, for as much as you unlock the little cinematics and the backstories, the challenge just says more about the operator in game than watching little cutscenes. That's one of the things that, if you pay attention to one of the flaws that the operators had in Black Ops 3 was that is that nobody cared about the little pieces of dialogue that they had in multiplayer when you unlock them after a certain amount of kills or headshots or kills with their specialists. Because it was okay, we understand he's like this and everything. The backstory in a certain way was told. So I don't see why just level up. If Arthur Kingsley is the leader that he is, some of his challenges would be in domination, be the top, capture the most flags, or be the top player in certain amount of matches, or capture B certain amount of times, or the enemy flag certain amount of times, to unlock this uniform and everything. Once you complete those challenges, you unlock his gold-ish uniform. Same with the ex-Nazi LMG girl. Kill a certain amount of enemy players in this certain amount of time with this LMG, or the challenges reflect more about the operators than just leveling up. Same with Paulina with her sniper rifle. Looks more so like a Mosin Nagant. But yeah, a certain amount of kills with certain sniper rifles, or you could say like double kills or even triple kills if you want to. Challenges within the operators to unlock certain uniforms for them actually says more about their backstory of who they are than just leveling up and cutscenes. Right now, at this point, I'm thinking Sledgehammer is trying to make a Call of Duty movie or series within the games rather than having to make a game as it should. And speaking of getting, through leveling up operators, calling cards, and emblems, can you please, signal how to get each one, or is it just leveling up? It doesn't say anything in the descriptions, and everybody's pointing it out, and it's discouraging me more of buying it. Just to level up in MP some of the weapons in order for me to use in the Warzone. But I think I'm just gonna use Warzone to level up just to M1 Garen, and that's it. So there's no answer, and even if you're not unlocking emblems and calling cards through challenges, you're just getting them through operators, then how to put it, this game is more so like they're trying to make it Fortnite type. Just level up this character and then you unlock the things that it has. It's like, but there's no specific challenges to unlock a certain calling cards that said, hey, this guy made this challenge that was hard or medium, or a legendary challenge. Then what's the point of having them if I'm just going to get them through leveling up operators or just leveling up in multiplayer? There's no reason then for me to actually just play the game to feel achieved. If I'm not going to feel like I'm going to achieve, if I won a certain calling card, a certain emblem, a certain uniform from an operator that it's got through a challenge, or a certain weapon camo that I know that I can grind and get, if the challenge is just copied and pasted, and sometimes it's buggy or a certain attachment doesn't exist on it. And I'm not talking about the crash issues yet that it has, that many are pointing it out, that it not only crashes the game, it crashes the console. here we go again. And I understand it was somewhat of a pandemic year, but we were seeing problems within sledgehammers before even Cold War was announced. Because their time was when Cold War was. And they were having issues, and Treyarch had to step in and release an unpolished Black Ops Cold War game that it didn't have so many issues. It had a hybrid engine, I understand, but more so missed opportunities that if they had released in the year that they had to, that it was this one, they would have polished it better and make more sense. But Sledgehammers was having issues with their Call of Duty that they swap years. And even if they gave Sledgehammers time, it seems that Sledgehammers doesn't get what it is a Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a very compelling campaign that is not so much of cutscenes, it's more so you play. And I think one of the things that I was thinking it in my mind and I forgot to say it on yesterday's stream. If you want us to care about these characters, showcase this. Don't narrate it. Don't give us 30-minute cutscenes for 10 minutes of gameplay. It should be inverted. It should be like in Modern Warfare 2019 and in past Call of Duties that are not sledgehammers. 5, 10 max a minute cutscene, or not even 5, not even 10, like 5 minutes or less. And then during the whole level, you start to see the story unfold on the dialogue that certain characters have with each other and even yours, even though most of them are silent because of your character. But you started to see, you know, the reason why everybody felt, that everybody loves Reznov, not only because of World War, but because the relationship he generates through Mason. And even though he explains it, there's a video of him explaining his backstory, how he got captured and everything because of Dragovich. But that video is like 2:36 minutes, like 2 minutes 36 seconds. And the rest of it, shit, the lighting. Sorry. There we go. And the rest of it is gameplay. And through the gameplay, it has dialogue. And through the dialogue, you understand, what's going on. You start to get involved with it. The escape from Vorkuta. Through gameplay, he's not narrating. He's telling you, do this, do that. Hey, there's certain enemies here. Let's attack them. You started to see through the gameplay the relationship that they have, through their actions. Same with these operators. What's the point of having so many of these operators if you don't know through their actions how they are, or through the challenges of unlocking their customs, or calling cards or emblems? It doesn't work. Okay, I can have so many cinematics explaining me Lucas's back past, Lucas's past with English. That doesn't mean anything to me if I don't see it reflected on gameplay. See where I'm getting at? Killstreaks, they're back. I got no issue with it. It's more so a neutral point. I wanted to touch on the zombies thing, but I'm not a big zombie fan. And even that has its own issues, and many are pointing it out, and they're returning more so to Cold Wars zombies than anything else. Um, so I don't know. They just they just missed the mark, and it's so sad. And I think Sledgehammers at this point doesn't understand what Call of Duty is. It's not about being SJW, eliminate the lines of differences and everything. If you're going to showcase a historic moment, even if it is fictitious, it doesn't have blur lines or doesn't erase the lines. It has very defined lines. You shouldn't erase it. You shouldn't just rewrite the past just because it's not acceptable on today's. It's like you gotta teach it. You gotta showcase why it's not acceptable on today's world because it happened and it was grotesque and it was dark, and if forgotten how it was, then it's gonna be repeated even worse. So, and I think that's one of the things that many people are tending to forget when even reading about history. It's not just about reading and writing, it's about reasoning what happened in that moment, the context of that moment, and why. You know? And even in video games, I understand that. But if you don't understand the history that Call of Duty is, then it doesn't matter how many good titles you have done, like Gears of War 1 through 3. Okay, we applaud you for that, but that was third person. That was different mechanics. That was a different context of game. This is first person, fast paced, 60 frames in which there's not even a 5 minute cutscene, and the rest of the story is explained through gameplay. It's not 30-minute cutscene and 10 minutes gameplay. The Saint. I'm trying to remember, but I haven't played a game like those, and just Sledgehammer games. No, Sledgehammers take a back seat. And I think the year that Sledgehammers is Sledgehammers, there shouldn't be a Call of Duty. There should be just a year without COD to give Treyarch and Infinity Ward the 3 year cycle properly. You know. So I'm not gonna touch zombies. I already seen that the notification of Angry Joe's review of Vanguard, and even he is saying that it's a pile of garbage because of many issues that it has, many things, many missed opportunities. I've put it out right now the problems in multiplayer, but I have more gripes, I think, with a campaign than in multiplayer. And my biggest one is actually the gunsmith because of World War II weaponry and everything. And even the operators. Like I said, certain challenges to unlock certain customs for the operators. Define the lines of where they are. Okay, they're ex-Nazi, but they're still operating within the Nazi uh, party. You know, so I don't know, many things, many things that I can rant about. That I have rant some, if not most of them, and I have given solutions within those rants because if you're gonna get criticism that if you're going to criticize something or someone, at least give the answer to a possibility, an option, you know. And I've already done it with what I've criticized of. So yeah, and I think if they don't fix it, I would definitely. If I was Activision, I would just tell them, you know what, you're out of the main cycle. Your year is going to be a non Call of Duty year, and it's going to be more so uh, hell, I would have made that year like a promotion to Call of Duty Endowment or a big tournament to help veterans, you know? So, Saturday we're gonna see. Actually, you know what? Where is it? Where are you? Oh, not here. Ah, there it is. We're going to discuss a topic that I think it could benefit Call of Duty. It could. I'm not saying it can, that it could. I played this game during the World War II and Black Ops 4 time of Call of Duty. That's why I didn't buy it, because I didn't like any of them. But the concept seemed interesting, and we're going to discuss it Saturday if it's going to work. Because while it can be interesting to tell a campaign story, but on the multiplayer side, it could actually carry some benefits, and it kind of be like a battle royale survival, like Escape from Tarkov, the one that they're trying to, the one that is like rumored to be for the next Modern Warfare 2 title. And I think they're taking not only a page from Escape from Tarkov, but from Ghost Recon Wildlands in a sense of way, because Wildlands actually took a page out of Escape from Tarkov on that perspective, on campaign and somewhat multiplayer. Well, multiplayer in it. But yeah, so we're going to talk about it Saturday, because it is an interesting fact that they're trying to do that. But anyways, until Saturday, 2 p.m. Central, share, subscribe, and stay safe. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. And until next time, see you then. Oh yeah, and tomorrow's Thursday night. Go Ravens.